12,000, and his stock surged to pre-collapse levels on the implicit support of the Federal Reserve and explicit support of the Federal Reserve. 30 million remain unemployed or underemployed, and a huge other percentage are in crappy jobs or afraid for their jobs. Remember, it got so bad in Egypt that there was a direct correlation between the growth in the GDP and the deterioration in the quality of life of the people, because the people at the top were making their money at the expense of everybody else. It's connected. Anyway, we're joined now by Vermont's independent Senator Bernie Sanders. Bernie, as you can tell, this is one that really gets to me. Investment is a great thing. Lending is a great thing. It drives prosperity. Why does neither the Democratic nor Republican nor the White House, why do I not see anybody in political leadership in this country talking about ending gambling and starting investment in America?
Well, Dylan, you didn't leave much for me to say. I think you said it all. Well, let me try to say a few things. Number one, at a time when we lost 42,000 factories in America over a 10-year period, 42,000, millions of good-paying jobs, at the same time we saw Wall Street making almost 40% of all profits in America. So what you have is a Wall Street which is a world unto itself. You're asking that the role of banking should be to help facilitate real production, real jobs in the real economy.
But let's stop there. Because I think that that's a lost point. Will you say what you just said again about what banking should be?
Look, what banking should be is that if I'm a business person and I have a good idea, I go to a bank, I get a loan at a reasonable price, I invest, I make money, I create jobs, I produce real products. That's what the function of banking should be. That's what it used to be. Increasingly now, Wall Street is an island unto itself, separated, distinct from the real economy. They produce worthless, in many cases, which led us to the recession, worthless, illegal products, sell it out there that nobody understands, make huge amounts of money for themselves, and when their Ponzi scheme collapses, they got the American taxpayer bailing them out. Furthermore, to add insult to injury, and we don't about this very much, you have today the four largest financial institutions in this country owning assets over half of the GDP of the United States of America. Now, if Teddy Roosevelt were here, what do you think he would be saying? We got to break these babies up. We need some real competition so we can get money out to the productive economy.
I spoke with Alan Grayson yesterday in the podcast that we do each day and asked him specifically about the failure to prosecute any of the fraud that was either revealed in the FCIC report or any of the other journalism that has been done, when there is clear evidence that banks were knowingly selling fraudulent, worthless, non-conforming investments to pension funds and the government, and then betting on their collapse. There's this company, Clayton Holdings, that audited hundreds of thousands of these mortgages, and it was reported in the FCIC report, Bill Greider wrote about it, that they embedded these fraudulent mortgages in these investments and sold them to pensions and the government, and yet we have not seen a single prosecution, a single investigation, a single administration of justice, which only further undermines America's relationship with the elite and the government. Here's what former Congressman Grayson had to say about all this.
The Obama administration said at the beginning, we're going to look forward, not back, and therefore, in the process of making that decision, basically let all these crooks off the hook. It turns out that crime does pay. It turns out that if you steal a large amount of money and it leads to the collapse of your institution, there's jobs for you somewhere else.
How can the Democrats let these guys off the hook?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. And I think, Dylan, when you talk about why the American people are so frustrated and so angry, I think what we have just been talking about has a lot to do with it. If a kid breaks a window in a shop, it steals some candy, steals some money, that kid can end up in jail. But if you have a bunch of crooks on Wall Street who destroy the American economy, have millions of people lose their jobs, their savings, and their homes, nothing happens to them. So the real question is, and I think we have to take a deep breath and ask it, does the government regulate Wall Street or does Wall Street, with their billions and billions of dollars, regulate the government through lobbying and campaign financing? I am afraid to a significant degree the latter is true. And I don't want to, give you some kind of utopian statement here and make things seem better. It is going to be very, very hard to take these guys on. In order to get deregulation, so they can end up doing what they did, which destroyed our economy, they spent $5 billion over a 10-year period. They got zillions of lobbyists, all kinds of campaign contributions. President appoints, guys from Wall Street around his cabinet.
Right.
Both parties are influenced by this.
Do we not need Teddy Roosevelt or his reincarnation in some form? Is that not, this seems such a clear
Absolutely.
parallel.
Look, what we need, and getting back to Ben Bernanke, what we should be doing is, for a start, and I have introduced, will reintroduce legislation that does break these companies up. You want to talk about a competitive society, it's not four financial institutions controlling half the assets of America. Controlling, by the way, producing, issuing half of the mortgages in this country, 2/3 of the credit cards. Is that real competition? Second of all, Ben Bernanke and the Fed have the emergency power to say to these banks, stop charging Americans 25 or 30% interest rates on their credit cards. They're killing the American people. Point that you made to start this discussion. The reality is that while the official statistic of 9% is there, it's better than it used to be. Don't kid yourself. In real sense, unemployment is probably at 16%, with underemployment and with
Period.
We sure do.
Straight up. Who's against that? It's crazy. Senator Sanders, thank you so much.